being a chosen one of God is a calling that many desire, but few are truly prepared to face. Have you ever wondered what it really means to carry this burden? Don't be fooled by the apparent glow of blessings. Being a chosen one comes with a high price, a price not measured in gold but in silent sacrifices that break the soul while simultaneously refining it. It's a lonely journey, where every step may feel too heavy, every choice may cut deep, and solitude may turn into an abyss where even your faith can be questioned. Can you feel the weight of this? Can you bear the pressure that separates the chosen ones from the ordinary? To those watching from afar, it may seem that the chosen ones are untouchable, blessed in an almost supernatural way. But what they don't see is the price we pay every day, each tear we shed in secret, each dream we bury out of obedience. Think about how many times you have given up what you loved most, just because you knew it was the right thing to do. How many times have you isolated yourself, enduring in silence while your soul cried out for answers? It's easy to admire the glory, but who truly understands the weight the chosen ones carry? This journey is not for the faint-hearted, and if you feel you're at your limit, you are not alone. Every sacrifice, every battle lost in the eyes of the world, is forging a purpose that few would understand. You may even question whether it's all worth it. You feel exhausted, worn out, maybe even on the brink of giving up. But what I'm going to reveal to you here is something that few know. Every pain you face has meaning. Every wound is a step towards a divine reward that transcends anything you can imagine. Stay with me until the end of this text, and you will understand that, despite all the sacrifices, the chosen ones are forged for something much greater. The price is high, but the reward is incomparable. Have you ever felt out of place, as if the world around you couldn't grasp the depth of your purpose? This happens because, for the chosen ones, there is a constant demand to abandon what is common, to leave behind comfort and predictability. Just as Abraham was called to leave his land and everything he knew to follow God's direction, you are also challenged to take steps into the unknown. Every decision you make, every sacrifice you make, is a reminder that your life does not follow the patterns of this world but is guided by a higher calling. This calling, however, often requires sacrifices that seem unfair and painful. The cost of being chosen includes distancing yourself from everything that once brought you comfort but no longer aligns with your purpose. This separation, which may seem like a devastating loss, is actually an invitation to draw closer to God. It is an opportunity to trust that He is building something greater, even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. How many times have you found yourself alone, struggling to explain decisions that no one around you seemed to understand? And how many of those times did you feel that your faith was being tested to the extreme? These moments of apparent loss are actually preparation for a future that only the chosen ones can access. The journey of the chosen ones is paved with sacrifices and, sometimes, with a sense of isolation. The people around you may not be able to see what is happening inside you. It may seem that you are distancing yourself, becoming someone distant and incomprehensible. In reality, you are being set apart, shaped, and transformed for something that many cannot even imagine. This weight, this constant pressure that seems to push you away from the things and people that were once so important, happens because, just as gold is refined by fire, you are also being purified and prepared. Every difficult choice you make, every door you close, is part of a divine process that is building something extraordinary within you. The cost of being chosen is not just about what you lose but about the transformation you experience along the way. It couldn't be any different because you were called for something that transcends human understanding, for a mission that impacts far beyond your own life. Just like Abraham, who left everything to follow a promise, you too were summoned to move forward, even when everything seems uncertain. This is the cost of being chosen, the willingness to lose what is temporary in exchange for what is eternal. And this is no small price. It requires courage that defies human logic, a trust in something that cannot be seen or touched. It is a faith that takes you to places that few dare to explore. But amid all these challenges, there is something you must always remember: God is aware of every sacrifice you make. He sees every tear you shed in silence, every struggle you face, and He honors your faithfulness. The path of the chosen ones is difficult, often painful, but it is filled with meaning and purpose. If you have ever questioned whether all this sacrifice is worth it, remember that every step you take towards the divine calling is preparing you to receive something that many will never achieve. And it is this hope that should guide your steps, even when the path seems dark and full of challenges. Because being chosen is much more than bearing the cost, it is walking with the certainty that the reward will be immeasurable, even amid spiritual battles. When you are chosen by God, you immediately become a target for forces that do not want the divine purpose to be fulfilled in your life. The spiritual battles that the chosen ones face are intense and often invisible to the human eye. Have you ever felt like, even when you're doing everything right, things seem to inexplicably get complicated? This happens because, as a chosen one, you are on the front lines of a spiritual war that seeks to hinder your progress. The enemy knows the potential you carry and will do everything to divert your attention, undermine your faith, and paralyze your purpose. But know that these battles, as arduous as they are not signs of defeat, they are proof that you are on the right path. Just as Joseph, who was betrayed by his own brothers, sold as a slave, and unjustly imprisoned, you may also feel surrounded by injustices that seem never-ending. It could be an unexpected betrayal, a cruel word, or even a series of events that make you question why all this is happening to you. But it's important to remember that every battle you face is forging a resilient character within you. Joseph, despite all the adversities, never lost his faith. He understood that the difficulties he faced were part of God's plan to prepare him for something much greater. And in the same way, you are being prepared for a purpose that you cannot yet fully see. These battles can also arise from where you least expect, sometimes within your own home, among the people you love the most. How difficult it is to realize that those who should support you are often the first to bring you down. But don't be fooled, this is one of the enemy's tactics, to use what is familiar to try to destroy what God is building within you. It is in these moments that your faith is tested in ways you never imagined. Every false accusation, every look of distrust, every attempt to silence you is an opportunity to prove to yourself and the world that your strength does not come from favorable circumstances but from an unbreakable connection with God. Therefore, when you find yourself in the middle of a battle that seems impossible to win, remember that you are not fighting alone. God never leaves you stranded on the battlefield. He is present, fighting by your side, strengthening your hands and enabling you to resist. Just as Joseph, who went from being a slave to a governor, you too will be elevated after passing through this purifying fire. Every battle won is a step towards the purpose for which you were chosen. The difficulties that today seem unbearable are, in fact, instruments that God uses to shape you and prepare you for the great things He has reserved for you. And no matter how endless the battles may seem, remember that they have a greater purpose. The enemy does not attack what has no value. He knows that you, as a chosen one, carry a power and a light that threaten his plans. Every attack is a confirmation that you are a threat to the kingdom of darkness. The fire of spiritual battles burns, but it does not destroy you. It strengthens you, purifies you, and makes you shine even more intensely, even on the lonely path God has placed you on for your calling. Being called by God often means being set apart, placed in a position where few can reach you. This happens because the path of the chosen ones is unique, a journey that only those marked by God can understand. Elijah, a great prophet, experienced this intensely. After a resounding victory against the false prophets, he found himself fleeing for his life, believing he was the only faithful one left. Similarly, you may feel that after moments of spiritual triumph, there comes a crushing silence that seems to question even your identity as a chosen one. This loneliness, however, is not a punishment but a preparation. God allows the chosen ones to experience this separation so that they can connect more deeply with Him. In moments of isolation, you learn to rely solely on God, to hear His voice amidst the silence. It is in this spiritual desert that the chosen one is molded, where your weaknesses are exposed and where you are strengthened for the purpose that is to come. Just as Elijah was sustained by an angel when he felt completely abandoned, God also sends signs of His presence to remind you that you are not alone. The loneliness of the chosen ones is actually a period of intimacy with God, where He works in your heart in ways you will only understand later. But of course, while you're in the middle of this experience, it can be difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The sense of isolation can be so intense that you begin to question whether you are really on the right path. The answer lies in the preparation. God removes the chosen one from the midst of the crowd to teach them to walk in unwavering faith. This loneliness is not meant to weaken you but to strengthen you. It is in this solitary space that you develop a confidence that does not depend on external circumstances but on an inner certainty that God is with you, even when everyone seems to have disappeared. And the closer you get to God in this lonely place, the more you realize that loneliness is a training ground. Every moment of silence, every tear shed in secret, every prayer that seems to go unanswered immediately is equipping you for the battles to come. The chosen one who learns to deal with loneliness becomes unshakable because they understand that their strength does not come from the people around them but from a direct connection with the Creator. Elijah thought he was the only one, but God revealed to him that there were 7,000 others who had not bowed. This shows that even when you feel alone, there are other chosen ones facing similar battles. So when loneliness seems unbearable, remember that it is not permanent. God is using this time to prepare you, to equip you, and to make you grow. You are not isolated without purpose. This is an experience to refine your impurities, to be molded with God's fire. Every chosen one needs to go through this moment to fulfill the calling that God has placed in their life. So if you feel alone now, know that you are exactly where you should be. You are on the path of the chosen ones, paved with challenges that few can endure. But even so, if you feel like you're on a lonely and sometimes challenging journey as a chosen one, our ebook can be a valuable resource for you. In it, you will find guidance and insights that will help illuminate your path and help you better understand your unique experiences and gifts. And what's even better, by joining us and purchasing the ebook, you will have access to our exclusive community on Discord. This group is a space where many, who may feel alone or misunderstood, have already found support, understanding, and affection. It's a place to share, learn, and grow together, where your unique experiences are valued, and your progress is celebrated. Imagine being part of a community that truly understands and supports who you are. Check out the first pinned comment here on the video. Have you ever wondered why, even when you're doing everything right, pain and difficulties seem to follow you? The truth is that this refining process, where impurities are removed, is where faith is strengthened. Just as gold needs to go through fire to become pure, the chosen ones face tribulations that reveal their true strength and trust in God. Every tear, every moment of anguish, is a step in this divine process of transformation. The story of Job is a powerful example of how God uses suffering to prepare His chosen ones. Job was an upright and righteous man but was subjected to a series of unimaginable losses and trials. He lost everything he had, his family, his health, and yet, he maintained his faith in God. Perhaps you, too, have felt that your life is falling apart, that everything you've worked for seems to be lost. But, like Job, you are being tested not to be destroyed but to be elevated to a level of faith and understanding that few achieve. God knows the pain you feel, but He also knows that this pain is preparing you for something much greater. The chosen ones are not only tested in their weaknesses but also in their strengths. God allows you to face situations that seem beyond your capacity so that, by overcoming them, you realize how powerful He is in your life. Just as fire removes impurities from metal, trials remove everything that hinders the chosen one from fully fulfilling their purpose. Suffering refines, purifies, and transforms. It teaches humility and total dependence on God. And it is in this process that the chosen one learns to trust God in a deep and unshakable way, knowing that, even in difficulties, He is working in their favor. What is often seen as a defeat is actually preparation for a greater victory. Every crisis, every moment of despair, is an opportunity for the chosen one to experience God's faithfulness and provision in a unique way. You may not see it now, but every moment of pain is preparing you for a future full of blessings and achievements. God never allows a chosen one to go through the fire without having a specific purpose. Just as Job, who had everything restored double after his trial, you too will see that suffering is just a stage on the way to the greatness that God has reserved. And when the fire seems unbearable, when the pain seems beyond what you can endure, remember that God is shaping you for something extraordinary. He is preparing you to receive a special anointing, to occupy a place of prominence where few have access and to receive all the divine rewards. Do you still wonder if all the sacrifices and struggles are really worth it? The answer lies in the promises God has reserved for those who, like you, choose to follow their calling, even when it means going against everything and everyone. The reward of the chosen ones is not only spiritual and eternal but also manifests in earthly blessings that reflect God's faithfulness in honoring every step of faith. As described in the Bible, Joseph was sold as a slave and unjustly imprisoned, and this is a clear example of how God transforms the most adverse situations into surprising victories. From a prison cell, he was elevated to the position of governor of Egypt, a position of power and influence he could never have imagined while in the depths of a cell. This is the nature of the rewards that God has for his chosen ones. He takes the impossible and turns it into reality. Just like Joseph, you too may be facing moments that seem to have no way out, but know that God is preparing something extraordinary for you. Every day, he is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail so that, at the right time, you receive the reward that only a chosen one can achieve. The rewards are not limited to the individual alone. The impact of the faithfulness of the chosen ones extends across generations. God not only restores what was lost but blesses in such a way that the harvest multiplies. Just like Abraham, who, by obeying God's call, became the father of many nations, you too will see that your choices, your sacrifices, and your faithfulness have a reach that goes beyond your own life. What God does in the life of a chosen one is a testimony that extends across generations, positively affecting those who come after you. Every act of obedience, every moment of perseverance is a seed planted that will bear fruit far beyond your imagination. The greatest rewards are those that cannot be seen or touched. God promises his chosen ones a peace that surpasses all understanding, a joy that does not depend on circumstances, and an unshakable communion with him. When you face challenges and persevere, something changes within you. Your faith deepens, your spiritual vision expands, and you become a living proof of God's transforming power. These are the true rewards of the chosen ones: a heart that knows peace in the midst of the storm, a mind that finds rest in God's promises, and a life that reflects the glory of the Creator. Therefore, if you're wondering if it's all worth it, the answer is yes, it is worth every sacrifice. Because being a chosen one is not just about what you gain, but about who you become in the process. God has called you for something much greater than the circumstances you are facing now. He has chosen you to impact lives, to continue your legacy, to transform environments, and to be a light in the midst of darkness. When a chosen one responds to God's call, their life leaves marks that transcend time and influence generations. It's not just about the blessings they receive, but the profound impact they have on everyone around them. Have you ever thought about the legacy you are building? Every decision you make, every struggle you face with faith, is creating a living testimony that can inspire others to follow the same path. The chosen ones, like you, do not live only for themselves. Their actions, words, and attitudes reflect God's presence and challenge the standards of this world. Abraham, by obeying God, became the father of many nations, an example of faith that continues to inspire thousands of years later. Likewise, you are also leaving a trail of faith and courage that can transform lives. This legacy of the chosen ones is not measured by material success or human recognition, but by the transformation they cause in people's hearts and minds. When you persevere in the midst of trials, you show that it is possible to trust God even in the most difficult moments. This encourages others to persist in their own journey. Your faith, your perseverance, and your resilience serve as a beacon that guides those who are lost, offering hope and showing that it is possible to overcome any adversity with God by your side. Every victory you achieve, every struggle you overcome, is not just yours. It is a testimony that God is faithful to fulfill his promises in the lives of his chosen ones. And the beauty of this legacy is that it doesn't depend on great deeds in the eyes of the world. Often, the simplest acts, like a word of encouragement or a sincere prayer, have the power to change the course of someone's life. You, as a chosen one, carry within you the ability to touch hearts and inspire profound changes. Remember Esther, who, with her courage and faith, saved her people in a time of crisis. It wasn't a great show of strength, but an act of obedience to God that changed the history of an entire nation. Likewise, your actions, even those that seem small, have a lasting impact that goes far beyond what you can imagine. The legacy of the chosen ones is built in every moment that you choose to follow God's path, even when it seems difficult or uncertain. Every sacrifice you make, every battle you face, every decision you make is planting seeds that will bear fruit in the lives of other people. You may not see it now, but your choices are building a legacy of faith and hope that will touch lives far beyond your own. This legacy is a testimony to God's transforming power, who uses the lives of the chosen ones to bring light to a world often plunged into darkness. So keep walking with courage, knowing that you are leaving a mark that will never be erased. The legacy of the chosen ones is eternal, not limited by time or space, and its impact echoes in the hearts of those who are touched by your story. In addition, the chosen one is always accompanied by God and does not leave their mark alone. Even in moments when everything seems to be falling apart, God's presence is a constant force, guiding, protecting, and strengthening their legacy through the chosen ones. Have you ever wondered how you can continue when everyone around you seems to succumb to difficulties? It's because, as a chosen one, you are under divine cover, a protection that transcends human understanding. God sees every battle you face and is by your side, fighting for you and with you. A verse in Exodus reminds us, "The Lord will fight for you, you only need to be still." And this is the promise that sustains every chosen one in the midst of life's storms. When you feel surrounded, with no way out, remember that God has never abandoned you. Just as he was with David, who faced giants and armies with unshakable confidence, he is also with you in every confrontation. No matter how great the challenge, God has already prepared the way for your victory. But this victory does not come without a fight. The chosen ones face battles that others cannot understand, battles that test their faith and determination to the limit. And it is precisely in these moments that God's presence becomes most evident. When you feel weak, when everything seems to be against you, that is when God shows his strength and power, enabling you to resist and overcome any obstacle. The presence of God in the battles of the chosen ones is not just passive protection but an active force that works in their favor. He sends his angels to guard and protect you, as he did with Daniel in the lion's den. When everything seemed lost, Daniel trusted in God and was spared from certain death. That same protection is over you, chosen one. In every seemingly impossible situation, God is working behind the scenes, preparing a way out, a solution, a miracle. His presence is a guarantee that, even when the enemy rises with all his forces, you will not be defeated. Because you are not fighting alone, the Creator of the universe is by your side, holding your hand and guiding you every step of the way. Besides protection, God's presence brings comfort and peace in the midst of chaos. The chosen ones know a kind of peace that goes beyond understanding, a serenity that permeates even the most difficult moments. This peace does not mean the absence of problems but the certainty that God is in control, that he is faithful to fulfill every promise. And it is this peace that sustains the chosen ones in the midst of the fiercest battles. When the world around you is on fire, when everyone seems to have given up, you stand firm because you know that God is with you, giving you strength to persevere. This confidence is what sets the chosen ones apart, a confidence that does not depend on circumstances but on God's constant presence in their lives. So even though the battles are intense and you sometimes feel unable to continue, remember that you are a chosen one, and God does not choose anyone without a purpose. He is with you in every battle, in every challenge, preparing and strengthening you for what is to come. God's presence in your life is not just a promise but a reality that accompanies you every step of the way. Trust in him, knowing that every battle you face is an opportunity to see God's power manifest in an extraordinary way. Because as a chosen one, you are never alone. The God who called you is the same one who fights for you, today and always. Every chosen one carries within them a flame that cannot be extinguished. This flame represents the divine call, the purpose that God has placed in your heart. But it is not enough to just recognize this call. You must act, even when obstacles seem insurmountable. Have you ever felt paralyzed by fear or doubt, wondering if you are really capable of fulfilling everything God has asked of you? Know that these feelings are normal, but they cannot stop you from moving forward. As a chosen one, you have within you the strength necessary to overcome any barrier. God has equipped you with everything you need to fulfill His purpose. And today, more than ever, He calls you to take a step of faith, to trust that He is with you in every decision, in every move. Do not let the weight of challenges make you forget the power that resides in you. As a chosen one, you are called to be a light in the midst of darkness, to bring hope where there is despair, to lift those who are fallen. It may seem like an immense responsibility, but remember that God would never give you a burden greater than you can carry. Every difficult experience, every moment of weakness, is building something extraordinary within you. You are not defined by your failures or fears, but by the ability to get up and keep going, even when everything seems to be falling apart. This is the true power of the chosen ones: resilience, the ability to keep believing and acting, even when the world around you seems to collapse. In addition to acting, the chosen ones are called to inspire. Your life is a living testimony of what God can do through someone who fully surrenders to His purpose. Do not underestimate the impact you can have on the lives of those who watch you. Sometimes, a word of encouragement, an act of kindness, or simply the example of your unshakable faith can transform the life of someone who is on the brink of despair. God has chosen you not only to be blessed, but to be a blessing. He wants to use your life to demonstrate His power, His grace, and His faithfulness. So, do not hide, do not remain silent. Let the light that He has placed within you shine with all its intensity. Now is the time to set aside the doubts and fears that hold you back. God is calling you to something greater, something you may not fully understand now, but that has the power to transform not only your life, but the lives of many others. He is equipping you to impact the world in a way that only a chosen one can do. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to grow, to strengthen yourself, and to show the world what God can do through someone who says yes to His call. So, rise up, chosen one. It's time to act, to live fully the purpose that God has given you, knowing that every step you take is being guided by Him. And never forget, you are not alone on this journey. Each chosen one is part of a greater plan, a plan that God is revealing every day. Every sacrifice, every battle, and every victory is part of a divine tapestry being woven with the lives of those who, like you, have said yes to God's calling. So move forward with courage and confidence, knowing that the reward waiting for you is far greater than any challenge you may face. God is faithful, and He is with you every step of the way. As a chosen one, you have been called to great things. Now is the time to act and live fully the purpose for which you were chosen. Believe that every sacrifice you make today is preparing the ground for a future full of achievements that only a chosen one can reach. So, rise up, take on your calling, and move forward. Don't be intimidated by challenges, for the reward God has reserved for you is far greater than any struggle you face now. You are a chosen one, and that means the victory is already guaranteed. Don't forget to check the first pinned comment if you feel alone and misunderstood as a chosen one. In our ebook, you will find guidance to illuminate your path and understand your unique gifts. Get it now and gain access to our exclusive Discord community, where you will find support and understanding. Join us and share your experiences in a welcoming space. Plus, enjoy unique and exclusive content. If this video inspired you, click the like button below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any messages and can follow every word of encouragement and strength that God has for you. And if this content touched your heart, share it with others who also need to be reminded of the power that God has placed in their lives. Leave your comment below and share your testimony, or simply say amen as an act of faith. And don't forget to check out the video that is appearing on the screen now. This content will complement what you heard today, bringing more insights to strengthen your journey as a chosen one. Always remember, God has chosen you for great things, and every battle you face is a step towards a victory already prepared. Stay strong and, above all, believe that the best is yet to come. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this video, and see you next time.